Sup gamers, Rainy Potato here, and we are finally here with the new DLC, The Binding Blade, including the Crusader and the new character, the Duelist. Right now we're just gonna go over and review the skills, the paths, and my first impressions of the character. Well, kind of first impressions. I am a playtester, obviously, so I've unlocked these characters, used them a bit, but we're still going to kind of learn them together. I still don't have them down completely yet. First thing you'll notice, obviously, new layout. If any of you guys watched the Red Hook stream yesterday or have been playing the experimental patch, you've seen this. They also have, obviously, party loadouts and skill loadouts now, so good quality of life changes. But anyway, let's get into the Crusader first. Yes, my Crusader is kleptomaniac. This is a complete accident. I did not set this up. I just opened this up and thought it was really funny. Anyway, let's check out his Wanderer kit first, and then we'll start looking at the paths. By the way, new path selection system, so that's cool. Of course, we have Smite. Smite is his base attack, returning from Darkest Dungeon 1. 5 to 7 or 7 to 9, pretty decent attack. It also does extra damage when combo, so this is basically a wicked hack. So pretty strong attack. You know, Crusader isn't what I consider, a damage dealer. He's not a nuker. He has a lot of utility, a lot of tankiness. You'll notice 48 HP, 2 speed. 2 speed obviously is perfect because he can use the Tangle Trinkets. Pretty good resist too. Bleed and burn. Not so much with the Blight. Move is okay. So yeah, Smite, just a basic attack. Front row to front row. Damage is damage. And we also have Stunning Blow returning. So this gives you stun on combo unupgraded. It doesn't daze like Rampart, but stun on combo unupgraded. Also, 3 to 5 damage is, not bad for a damaging attack. It's less than Rampart. Although Rampart got nerfed, so it's pretty close. The upgrade is kind of niche. Remove strength, remove crit. There's a few scenarios in which this is good. But, like I said, this also, the stun on combo is a somewhat interesting combo with, of course, everyone's going to want to run Crusader with Highwayman. So getting Stunning Blow, getting point blank shot into Stunning Blow if you're dealing with a particularly large opponent. Pretty interesting combo. Next we have another returning skill from Darkest Dungeon 1, Zealous Accusation. This is his first burn attack. Like we said, I think Red Hook revealed that yes, he will have some burn skills. So we'll finally have some burn to go along with Runaway. We'll also have, of course, we still have Vestal, who has the trinket that gives all her ranged skills burn damage now, as opposed to just Illumination. That was a recent change. And we also have, obviously, Mag Rain. So Backdraft will be a thing now. Anyway, this is basically Dragonfly, except you don't move. Just a front row AoE, slightly weaker upgrade than Dragonfly. 3 burn AoE. 33% combo, of course. Very, very strong. I think this is, I think this is a staple on Reynold, in my opinion. Just getting the dot on AoE combo chance. It's just really strong. And of course we have Inspiring Cryback. This is just a worse bolster. It doesn't heal himself. He healed himself 1 on upgrade. But so it is weird that, bolster still exists with the stress healing mechanic. I know they nerfed some other parts of it. And this is just a worse bolster. Not quite as good as Inspiring Tune. You can use this skill everywhere, obviously. But, if you want a different stress healer, you're tired of Jester, you're tired of Man-at-Arms, you can run Reynold. It exists. Still has the same thresholds, 1 turn cooldown. And then we have Rallying Cry. This removes daze and weak, and removes daze, stun, and weak. Kind of a weak move. No cooldown on upgrade. It's niche. Like I said, my playstyle, I like playing aggressive, very slow, you know, buff. This isn't even a, you know, just removing something negative. There are times it's useful, but I very rarely equip this. Now, this is his first. Rallying Cry is a new move, I guess. Reap is an entirely new move. This is also a front row AoE. Like I said, he's mostly a front row tank character. It gets a healing received debuff to the enemy, which there aren't a lot of healing enemies, so this is very, very niche. 4 to 5 AoE and 5 to 7 on upgrade is whatever. The upgrade is sort of interesting because obviously you get the heal on combo. So if you're living, also we do have Iron Constitution, so his base HP is 40. I just realized I didn't clarify that. Again, this is a niche skill. Most of the time, you know, how big of a difference is 4 to 5 from 1 to 2? Most of the time, I'd rather have the burn in the combo. So there are some uses for this, but it's not, you know, it's whatever. All right, now here, of course, is what people are looking for. Another healer option. Not a great healer. Also, this is not usable from the back. So it's just a wanderer. Which he does have some pads that are good from the back. So decent target HP. 50%. So this is basically Battlefield Med without, you know, the Battlefield Med. It also has a cooldown and a use limit, which I think is really excessive. The upgrade, obviously, heal yourself as well, but it's a small heal. I think they were a bit stingy with this skill, considering, like, because you think about it, Plague Doctor is like one of the best DPS characters in the game as well, with Alchemist. And they get a heal without, you know, Battlefield Med doesn't have cooldowns. It does have a use limit, but especially a 2-turn cooldown without the upgrade is really excessive. Crusader really isn't a main healer. You can use him as such, but yeah, I think this could use a buff, frankly. I get honestly not that far from Vestal, but Vestal has alternate ways of doing stuff. Like, frankly, Occultist is a better healer, in my opinion, now than the Crusader, just because of the lack of cooldown or use limit on Weird Reconstruction. And here we have Bulwark of Faith, his taunt skill. This has no use limit, does have a long cooldown. So you can't spam taunt. And also, with the change to Man-at-Arms Retribution, you need to upgrade it to get the 1-turn cooldown. This actually sort of makes Leper and Hellion a little more, Carcass Hellion a little more attractive as tanks, because you can taunt every single turn, you know, without nonsense happening. You also get regen along with this, along with block, which is very interesting. As you can see, Crusader has a lot of ways of being self-sufficient, and also has a heal of his own for someone else. So it can be very interesting, you know, carrying a party of weaker characters. But 4 regen is quite good. No use limit, obviously a long cooldown, and 3 taunt is obviously much, much better than 2. Much, much better. So this is a staple for tank Hellion. And now we bring you Holy Lance. Holy Lance returns. So your Crusader, if nothing else, your Crusader is shuffle proof, or you can start him in back row. This is also another burn skill. 4 to 7, 5 to 9 with a burn is really strong. On upgrade, you get the guaranteed combo, which is useful in a number of scenarios. Again, can team him up with Dismas and hit that pistol shot stun, Man-at-Arms stun, you know, running grave robber stuff. Just so many uses. More ways of generating combo is great, especially when like Vestal lacked it. Just another, you know, consistent combo generator is nice. Here is his skill Radiance, usable anywhere. This is another regen skill with a long cooldown. You basically, you give another enemy or another ally piercing, and you do more damage, obviously on the upgrade, against burning enemies. So I think this is a bit weak. The regen's cool, but like getting a little bit of piercing is weird when things like Arsonist exist. Anyway, and the final skill is Tenacity. You just give a target 2 block, which is completely unexciting. The upgrade, you give yourself block and you get debuff resist, so pretty interesting. There aren't a lot of ways to get debuff resist. You obviously have the road gear one. Which one's that? Anyway, you have the pet that does debuff resist, but this is useful, especially against the baby, is where I see the most use coming from. There are a few other things that do debuffs, like Act 5 boss, which is what we're on right now. Like I said, small buffs like this I find not that useful. I rarely find a need to equip this, but we'll try it out. And now let's look at his paths. We have Aggressor, front rank fighter who cleanses and slays with Holy Fire. 3 affected skills. We have Smite. This now has Execution on burn, on burning targets. Same damage, and also has Execution 2 on burning targets. And also Stress Heal on Killing Blow. So pretty interesting. Reap now has AoE Execution when burning. So this is a decent setup with like Runaway. You probably want Runaway with like Dragonfly or, you know, Mag Rain. 5 to 7 is decent damage to get Execution with. Also with the upgrade, you get Strength on Killing Blow, so sort of interesting. And they also change up Tenacity. You now heal 15% on hit with your melee skills when the target is burning. This is actually quite good. 20% on upgrade plus debuff resist. So obviously, stuff like, this is on melee hits, right? So like Reap, you get the double heal. That's 30% and 40% heal. It's pretty niche. But if you're running a niche build like Aggressor, you can probably put Tenacity on. And that's it for Aggressor. Templar, self-sufficient defender who protects allies while regenerating injuries. Again, it changes Smite. This gives you Stress Heal on combo. Kind of mid. Smite's not something I think about a lot on the Templar path. We have Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry is now a defender, basically. You give guard tokens to a target. That target also gets healing received, that's quite a big buff, 30%. And you transfer your regen. Remember, he has multiple ways of generating regen. You can transfer your regen to an ally, which is pretty insane. It has, I think, when targets below 30% is a bit extreme. Like, is it really that strong, transferring the regen? I don't know. And then, of course, they changed Tenacity again. This is just healing received. This upgrade's great. Upgrade is great. 20% debuff res. Just think about the context. The main problem is, again, with this buff is he's slow. So that makes things like, this is less effective against like the baby where debuff resist is most important. But you also get the healing received buff. Of course, this can work in concert with your battle heal. Just a lot to like about Templar is sort of interesting. Now, it's Banneret, which I really like. Armored supporter with improved reach, capable of healing, and wide range buffs. So the first thing they change is Zealous Accusation. Zealous Accusation is now Plague Grenade. Banneret is your back row Crusader. It's not quite good. It's Plague Grenade, but weaker. It's 1 dot weaker, but with a combo chance, which is, 25, 33% on AoE. That's insane. Again, good with, pistol shot. This is a lot of fun. Put him back there with Alchemist, and you get some wild AoE dots. And of course, find some burn trinkets. So first thing first, this is a back row character. We get a dedicated back row. I think I even have a skill loadout within back row, yeah. I don't even know what I picked there. See? Back row. Very useful. Battle heal is also changed. As you noticed, battle heal is only a front row skill with his other paths. This now lets him use it anywhere, so you can accommodate the back row healer. You get a slightly stronger heal, 20% and 30%. Also get an extra use out of it. So again, this is the healing path. This is basically just Plague Doctor Light with with double the HP of Alchemist. Pretty funny. Rallying Cry is changed. This gives AoE Immobilize, which has some uses, not a lot of uses. Especially, like I said, he's slow, so it doesn't really do that much against the baby. I've never actually used this, so maybe we can find a use for it. And then Tenacity, the most interesting change. Tenacity, if you notice here, is an AoE buff. So we get AoE block for the team. And on upgrade, you can remove AoE daze and stun, which is quite useful. You'll notice his stun resist is pretty respectable. Near on par with Alchemist. Holy Lance is still the same, but you're mostly going to be spamming Zealous Accusation until it's time to... What I found is I kind of like spamming Zealous Accusation, then I like having Holy Lance. I probably don't actually like Tenacity. Probably have something for when I'm, Holy Lance up front. Ideally, you just kill. You get Zealous Accusation, the fights, you heal, and the fight's over. But there are a lot of things. Anyway, that is the Crusader. Now it is time for the new character. The Duelist is very, very complicated. Red Hook showed her a little bit last night if you watched the stream. Yeah, it's very, very complicated. You'll notice she's kind of a lower HP character, 28 base, 6 base speed. No, this is fully upgraded. Her base HP doesn't change through the path system, I think they pointed out, which I noticed. So yeah, decent resists. She has 40 across the board. Obviously thin-blooded, so... But 40 dot resist across the board is really nice for a base 28 hero. You also notice 6 speed. It's quite good. Just need a little bit of speed to get use out of the trinkets. Normal debuff resist. Move resist is good. Stun resist is pretty bad, but stun resist is very useful. Now, what she also does... Let's see if I can open the new token glossary. Where the heck is it? So she has stances. If you noticed, if you've been following the development of this, she has different stances. That's her unique mechanic. These are tokens. These stances, she doesn't start with one unless you have a trinket. Her unique trinkets will start her in a certain stance, which is very useful. Very, very... Makes her trinkets very... some heroes have very bad trinkets. Her trinkets are insane. So, you'll see defensive stance. This enables certain skills. We'll obviously go through the thing. But they also have passive buffs similar to, conviction on certain allies. On riposte, gain dodge. A chance of getting dodge. And these also change with the pads, so it's a lot to learn. And in her aggressive stance on riposte, she heals 10% HP 30% of the time. Not a big heal, but a heal is a heal, especially when you're low. Now let's go through her base skills, and then we'll go through her paths. Touche, her base attack, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, pretty standard base attack. You'll see she moves back when in defensive stance, move forward when in aggressive stance, and on upgrade, depending on where she is, she's a mobile character, by the way. You basically have to run her in a mobile comp or a comp that is okay with being mobile, which makes her a little even harder to use because, like I said, the game is not really built for dance comps at the moment, but maybe she can change it. You actually can gain stances on upgrade. There are a lot of different ways to change stances. This is just one of them. Defensive or aggressive. So that's her base attack. Can only target the front row, so not a lot of range, but as you can see, she can obviously use it from anywhere, which is very common among her skills. Feint can be used in the front 3 against the front 2. This is her riposte move, as you can see. 2 riposte at base, 3 on upgrade. There's also a pretty respectable damaging attack. I think on par with, maybe a little weaker than Duelist Advance. Again, range isn't good. This also inverts her stance, so if you already have a stance, this will change her stance or switch her stance. So if you don't have a lot of ways, if you have, say, an abundance of ways to get in defensive stance, but want a way to get into aggressive or vice versa, I mean, riposte on her is just a staple anyways, and this is her main riposte ability. So a very good, useful, base attack. Disengage, one of my favorite skills. Small damage, usable against the front 3, from the front 3. And this is, again, as you'll notice up there, this is one of her ways to get into defensive stance. Unupgraded, you get into defensive stance, you get a dodge token. It also ignores riposte, and obviously anything it ignores also removes. So useful against the knight or Act 4 boss. Move back, and when you're in defensive stance, if you're already in the stance, you can either pull or knock back. The upgrade is quite good, getting dodge plus and being able to pull or knock too. Anyway, this is, obviously these 5 are the base skills you'll have before hero shrines. And this is your primary way to get into defensive stance. So very important. Flick is front row versus front row. Decent damage, slightly higher crit. You can ignore dodge when in defensive stance, or ignore block when aggressive. So another, decent thing to have. This is very situational, I think. Depending on, I basically only put this on for like bosses if I know there's going to be either a lot of dodge or block. So it could be useful against like Act 3 if you're using like a man-at-arms strat with big block, or against Act 4 that uses dodge, or against, well, the librarian doesn't come to front ranks often, so it's a useful attack. I don't use it that often. And preparation, this is her primary way to get into aggressive stance. This is basically take aim. You give yourself a speed token, give yourself a strength token, and give yourself aggressive. The upgrade does the same thing. You also get extra riposte damage for 4 turns when you're in defensive stance. So if you say preparation and then use your speed token to say disengage and get into a defensive stance. And also you get a crit token, so this is kind of like a take aim, except with a strength token and a crit token if you're already in aggressive stance. So say you have the trinket that gives you aggressive stance. You can open with this basically and get a Giga Tank aim. You can do a nuke. You can disengage nuke to get extra post damage. This is also sort of interesting. You can run preparation and then just run flat, feint. That will invert your stance and give you riposte and has decent enough damage that preparation is useful. And then you get your extra riposte damage with you know, the preparation, because you'll change stances. So a lot of useful ways to use this. Obviously, this is one of your primary ways to get into aggressive stance, and it comes as one of your 5 base skills. Next, we have the boot. This is a knockback. It's also, you have to have aggressive stance, but it just has base knockback as long as you can use the move and have aggressive stance. And remember, stances don't go away unless you specifically change them. So, you know, one preparation, and you can be in aggressive stance for the remainder of the fight. As long as you don't, you know, you're going to have a stance, except there's like one move that removes stances. So it's not like it's not like you get the token and then you use it. It's not like conviction. You know, you get the token and you keep it for the remainder of the fight until you change it. Like I said, the combo is somewhat useful as well. Sort of niche, but niche for aggressive builds. So we have, again, this is also on upgrade. It requires a stance. This is one of the ways that removes all your stance tokens. You can have either stance on upgrade. Cooldown is long, use limit is long. As you can see, it clears your skill cooldowns on a target. So, you know, if you want to use Encore again, if you want to use, say you're running with Crusader and want to run Bulwark of Faith again, just, you know, there's a lot of long skill cooldowns in the game. This is just something useful if you're running an aggressive or any sort of stance. It's useful. There's a lot of, I'm still exploring the kind of broken ways you can use this, but there, you know, anything that gives you a chance to remove skill cooldowns, you're gonna be OP. You're gonna find ways to exploit it. So I'm pretty excited about that. Flèche. This is another way of getting into aggressive stance, and it's also an attack. You get extra damage when you're in aggressive stance, so this is like a preparation usage. You do this, you get a strength token, sometimes you get a crit token. It's a forward 3 jump, which is kind of cool if you're using, say, the Croc. And also has remove block when not, or remove yeah, removes dodge, which is useful. Back 3 against front 3. Now, meditation is one of my favorite skills. This is a certified dodge tank, only a 1 turn cooldown. You even without a stance, you give yourself defensive stance, and you give yourself 3 dodge. Like I said, low HP character can use the dodge. If you're already in defensive stance, you get taunt, and of course taunt with dodge. If you're in aggressive stance, you get riposte. Another way to get riposte. Upgrade is 3 dodge plus tokens and a remove combo, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, there's also no use limit, so you can just keep spamming dodge, which is useful against a number of bosses, specifically Act 3 boss, if you want to use tank. Especially if you give her, you know, some sort of taunt generation. Every other turn. It's insane. We have coup de grace, which is very interesting because it's a flat damage. There's no range. Any rank from any rank. Need to have defensive stance. Ignores weak. It ignores block. Has execution. So it's just an executing move. Execution 2 is quite good. It's damage. Some, you know, strength, block, damage, generation. Not bad. Not bad, especially when it ignores block. It has its uses, especially since it's anywhere. And Ruthless Instruction, you have to have defensive or aggressive when upgrade. You give an ally dodge, which is kind of meh. And on upgrade, you give ignore a blind to an ally. So this is useful in a number of characters. Say the Act 2 boss, which blinds. The Banneret who blinds. With, you know, blind generation. Actually kind of interesting. I haven't actually run this with Leper yet. That's kind of funny. Think about. There are, of course, a lot of ways to ignore Leper's blind, but that's actually quite interesting. And this is sort of interesting. It has a 1-turn cooldown, so you can keep applying it. One thing I haven't used this is Cruel Intent. Destruction Cruel Intent sounds pretty juiced to the gills. So that sounds fun. Her paths. They also change her stance passives. Provide recovery killing blows. We'll have to look at them. I don't remember them offhand. I don't think it changes here, right? In token glossary. Yeah, that's just for her base. Also changes 4 of her skills, so let's go ahead and look. This changes engage. Back to invert stance. Does not put her in. It ignores riposte and also gives her a dodge or a dodge plus. I prefer the normal disengage, but this sort of fits what this build is trying to do. Again, obviously, for stress, certain builds. Not really interesting on like Flagellant because he doesn't really do damage, but you know, you get a leper, you try and spam stress on them, and you get damage. 4 turns, good buff. Cooldown is 3. Now it is quite good. It gives stress, and then an extra turn next round for that target when you're in defensive mode. Or if you're an aggressive, you get, again, the plus 10 damage. So you can, like, swap around. You can do weird things. I like the extra action next round. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of funny. What else do we have? Coup de grace. This gives it range, gives it flat execution, gain on killing blow, kills, clear skill cooldowns. This is actually insane. Obviously, with again, you know, the plan here is to use again. Randy, shut up. Pretty good crit otherwise, but obviously the gain on killing blow is the interesting part here. And with the instruction changes to be so much text. This is a stressed heal if you're in defensive mode. And if you're in aggressive mode, strength token. So, you know, instruction with token with again, and you show up with ruthless instruction is obviously and great for this. And you'll obviously set up your crit token again. But I'm gonna think to telling you this build power, undermine, debuff, resist. token, not a huge thing. I'm not a token guy. Like I said, I hate Confessor build with Vestal. Negative tokens. Voln's pretty good with the right setup. But not a huge move. Disengage. This gives you... This is just the same. Move back 1. Defensive. Dodge. But apply combo when you're aggressive. Now the upgrade is something to look at. Blind when combo when already in defense. Stance for this is not good. Combo, 1 combo token when I'm aggressive. But the double blind is very, very interesting. Then we have the boot, which is a stun now on combo. A base stun on combo. So obviously you have to be in defensive stance, so that's the thing. It's also a knockback, just a flat knockback again. Very, very good. Stun when defense, again, stun when combo. You can be aggressive or defensive here, or a combo apply. Again, this is not really an aggressive, in my opinion. You don't really care about being in aggressive stance. And coup de grace is now you have to be an aggressive or aggressive defensive when you're upgraded. It removes your stance tokens. Unupgraded, pretty strong from anywhere to the back 3. 2 weak, 2 Vaughn is pretty respectable. On upgrade, you don't even need a combo. It's just a flat stun when in defensive stance, or if you're in aggressive stance, you can use your thing. Again, in my opinion, this is a defensive build. Antagonist. Get in defensive stance. You get a... It's a cooldown too, obviously, but just a base stun when you're in defensive stance and do a little bit of damage from anywhere. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Enter final path. Stress passive and increased power and risk alike. Stacking up to 5 times. Effects are lost when damaged. This is her dodge build. More dodge build. So feint. Instead of getting your riposte, you get dodge tokens. Cooldown of 1. You invert your stance. Dodge plus on upgrade. Getting dodge plus every other turn is pretty Monka Omega. And then we have disengage, which is now a stealth move. If you're already in defensive, you gain 2 stealth tokens. If you're in aggressive stance, you can apply a defender token. Again, we're trying to not get hit. Now we go to preparation. Preparation is the same, except on upgrade, you remove dots when you're in defensive stance. So it's whatevs. And coup de grace here. It removes your stance effects. If you need to remove... Again, we'll have to look at the stance effects. I don't remember them offhand to determine how good this actually is. But again, a dodge build, high risk, high reward. Sounds like fun. Anyway, the characters, there's a lot more to learn, especially... I mean, we covered Crusader. The Duelist is going to be very, very challenging to figure out. So anyways, I will be doing a run tomorrow morning. I'm not going to be streaming this week because I have lots of things to do. But tomorrow morning, we will have a new video running both Crusader and Duelist in a dance-focused team, I think. And we are going to have fun because fun is fun. Shut the f***, Andy. So I should have a Crusader build out this week. Guide on Crusader builds. We're gonna have